Sergeant Rock
Yep.
versus Army of the Dead issue. What is this one?
4.
4. Okay.
Yeah.
Take it away.
Yeah. So the last issue ended with them with half of Easy Company following Hitler's doctor, and so they're still following him, and they get to a checkpoint, and they don't know how they're going to get through. And Sergeant Rock's like, yeah, the whole point of a checkpoint, from a military standpoint, is don't let anyone through. So we're gonna have to take it over. So this issue is mostly an action sequence where they start causing trouble at the checkpoint. The Nazis send out some of the zombie creatures. They go to check the back of the truck that they're driving in, and the flamethrower member of Easy Company just completely cooks them. They end up in a chase scene where they have to ditch the truck in like the woods because right past the checkpoint is a bunker, and they just start firing on them. So Easy Company that half has to stay and basically defend their position while Sergeant Rock and one of the other members follows the doctor. And so they end up getting in this motorcycle and a sidecar. It ends up being very much, to me at least, reminiscent of Last Crusade, because they're going through chasing Nazis in this motorcycle and sidecar. And Sergeant Rock and the guy that he's with noticed like how heavily armed this position is. And Sergeant Rock starts to put together, he goes, well, we have this basically fortress. We have all these armed men. We have Hitler's doctor. Do you know what this means? This is where Hitler is. And that's where the book ends. So it keeps up with the pacing and the speed that the other books have had. A lot of this is, firefight and return, between Easy Company and the Nazis. You see, on the sequence where they're being chased on the motorcycle, they go past what I thought were water tanks, right? And they start firing at them, and they drench the Nazis, the Nazi monsters, in what looks like water. And then Sergeant Rock takes his Zippo and throws it on him. Turns out it was a gas tank. And so we get a lot of fun action out of Russo in there. And because that's what they've established is the one way to fully take out these zombie monsters is fire. So, it's always this, right there, any way that they can cause a fire to get rid of them. And then, it keeps going that they got to find out, how they're making these monsters and what's going on. And I think Bruce Campbell's doing a pretty good job because it's a very kind of bare bones book. Like it's very much a, kind of like one of these B war movies, that Hollywood would have churned out back in the 50s, 60s. There's very little character development because all these characters are kind of archetypes of Army. Even Sergeant Rock is just kind of, gung-ho sergeant. We're going to keep moving. And, when he says at the end, he goes, there's good news and bad news. The good news is that we've located Hitler. The bad news is I lost my Zippo. So it even gets into some of the cheesiness. And I'm almost wondering if like a younger Bruce Campbell could have played a Sergeant Rock. I think he's too old now. But I wonder if I go back and read this and insert his voice, if that would make the character almost come alive a little bit more. Because I would say that's the biggest problem with the book is all the characters are kind of hollow. They're just kind of these, again, archetypes. But watching Nazis get burned up and shot at and otherwise destroyed is always a good time in my book. Because to quote Indiana Jones, Nazis, I hate these guys. But yeah, just a basic book. I would tell people just wait for the trade to come out. We're 4 out of 6 at this point, and it'll probably read a lot better in trade. It'll feel like a nice, brisk story of not of soldiers versus zombies. So so I'll give this a 7 out of 10. Like it's not phenomenal, but it's a nice, light, fun read.
Okay. There you go. Well, I had a Patreon book this week.